name originally in Iraq is Saleh.
And you look at me. You look at me.
Saleh. And this came up from the name of the father of my mother, my grandfather. Saleh Shintob was Saleh. And I was the only son to start with my father brothers. In 1934, I understand my mother said that I was born in the house, not in a hospital, half an hour before Erev Yom Kippur in 1934. Is a dilemma, second one, that my father and mother always argue about I was born 1933, and she said she said 1933, my father said 1934, but the ring of my father I still have with me in the safe. It showed he got married in 1932. So it's hard to say, but they registered me in 1934, so maybe I have the benefit of 1 year. We grow in Baghdad itself, and it was the old Baghdad is like you're going into Morocco and you go to the old town. Is like hard to have car drive by, very few cars in the main street. It's like a kasbah, but it's not a kasbah. It was they call them Halat al-Nasara, the quarter of the Christian. Because at that time, the Jews, the Christian, and the Kurd, and the Caledonian, and the Hammurabis, with last two of them, Caledonian and Hammurabi, become Christian, Catholic. At that time was confusing still, 50, 60 years ago, or 70 years ago. And they all lived together in one area to protect each other. Like they have street without exit, like cul-de-sac. So this is what they do, so they can guard it at night if it's a problem. And this is where we grow, and I went to Alliance when I was young, and it was only for boys, and it was in Baghdad. And it's the only school in Iraq which is teach French. And it was subsidy of the Rothschild family. They did in Iraq, in Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, I think, and Morocco. I'm not sure about Algeria, but I think Morocco, yes. And they supported with the French teachers. So I do speak perfect French. And the third language was the English, rather than second language like my brother school. They didn't teach them French. Then we stayed there until I did the 6 years, the first 6 years in school. I don't know how value to the U.S. I'm not familiar with the U.S. education. And then the first 2 years of like bachelor. I got the French exams, Certificat d'études premières. And then the brevet élémentaire, I was almost to do it, but I didn't make it. I left the last year. And this is from there you go to college for wherever you want to be, engineer, doctor, wherever. So that time it was like late 1949.
Let's go back a little bit. Do you remember the Farhud?
Yes, I do.
Can you talk about it?
We were living in the Nasara, and our house was like open ceiling. They have down and open, and then you have like one room this way, one room, and then terrace to walk on. And I could see the Farhud. They stopped breaking homes, and in that time you could go from roof to roof, and because it was like not individual homes, they all connected. And I remember the guy by the name of Azawi ibn Tabra. And I know him because he was a big guy, and he was the guy who have warehouse, they storage my father, merchandise, spices. He imported them and they storage it there. And he came, our house was 2 doors, red color. And he stand up on the door, and I saw him from top with long safe, which is sore. And he has 2 guns here, small guns. And he's standing on the door and wouldn't let anyone to break in. And he put 4 people up on the roof so no one would come from the neighbor. This is how we were lucky to be safe. We didn't have any damage. I remember the Farhud, and I remember Gilani, Rashid al-Gilani, when they did the revolution. I saw the German plane flying on top of Baghdad and shooting and noisy and throwing bombs and trying to do the revolution. They didn't succeed. It's history of, I think I had a wonderful life in Baghdad, the family going to different, they call it Bistan, like a ranch on Shabbat, and they play tawli and they drink and they cook, and they bring usually the food with them because it's Shabbat, they don't cook. They make the tbit home Friday and they bring it. And I remember the first car came in with a 2-seater in the front, and the back you pull it, and we like to sit on the back, the kids, so we can have like convertible. This is really growing until I got in trouble with those 2 guys on a bicycle that they pulled me and they break the bicycle.
What happened?
We're just driving from school because everyone wanted to drive bicycle. And we have a very fancy bicycle with the ringing and the bell and the lights, and this is like the part of everyone like his Cadillac. And we went to school, and against the will of the parents, because they want you to drive with them. Because we live like nice 45 minutes drive. I mean bicycle drive, but 20 minutes in car. So one day I came back home, it was windy and I wasn't speeding, and they pulled me and beat me for no reason and break my bicycle. And so blood on my face, I took my scout belt and I beat the hell out of them. And I piled them with the bicycle and them, and I took my bicycle, my shoulder ring back home. And my parents said, what's going on? The clothes torn and bleeding all over. And when they heard who they are, I guess very important 2 boys, they decided we should go to Basra tonight. So we packed and went to the train, and we left to Basra. Basra, my uncle Kaduri took over. He was dismantling the port of Shu'aiba. It's a British port. They were dismantling the metal, and they ship it to Europe to reuse it. And Iraq didn't have that facilities. And he tried to negotiate with me to stay in Basra, go to school. I give you red Jeep. Matter of fact, I drove the first Jeep red, and they put antenna maybe Ad Shamayim, and so high so they can see where I am. Because if I go there, you never find me. It's huge. So they have the antenna and a flag right, blue, white, and yellow, and not red, yellow. And the car was red from the army, painted yellow. So I drove and I learned, I hit this here and there, but they know where you are because there was no telephone to give you at that time. There was no such thing. And finally, we found someone that's going to cross me to Iran. So Uncle Kaduri took my shoes. He removed the heel of my shoes. And he took a dinar and he cut it to 2. He kept half and half put in the shoes. So if I cross correct, safe, I should give the guy my half dinar so he can get the money from my Uncle Kaduri. So we crossed to Iran and Shatt al-Arab. I think there were 6 or 7 or 8 kids with me. I don't remember them. I don't know who they were because it was dark. They were down in the boat and covered with dirty hasira, you know, the one that make the chairs that you sit on. They make them for the dates. They put dates in it and they ship them. So it's really smelly. But we were there and we crossed, and about arriving to Iran was a police from Iraq border control. They stopped them and asked them what they're doing, how it was happening, how you do, ahlan wa sahlan. He had told us, don't sneeze. If you sneeze, you're dead. Don't cough, you're dead. I mean, really quiet on the river on this, toward just late September or October, to quiet the water still. And then they asked for a cigarette, they gave them as-salama, and then we cross. And then the Iranian army, half truck, on behalf of the Shah, they greet us. They gave us, tasting the sweet tea, little tea, dark tea with sugar, brown sugar. I never had brown sugar in my life. And I say because it's for the poor, they wouldn't use it. And they give you the brown like weed tossed dry. And at that time, it was an insult to eat weeds, because only for the poor people. Here, we love it. Now we buy only weed. I don't eat white. But this is when we went to Hamra, and from Hamra, they took us to Tehran, to the Jewish cemetery that they have temporary living place for the Jews of Iraq. And then through my father connection, I was able to get to Turkey with laissez-passer, like temporary paper, Iranian paper. And from Turkey, I went to Israel, late 1949.
When you were growing up, was there anti-Jewish discrimination? Did you feel scared?
Yes and no, because we were too young to understand it. I mean, we were in a school, Jewish school. It was not Christian, no Muslim in it. Sometimes they hurt you on the way, or you get a little kick on the head, but you know, we took it sometime, maybe just because we are young. My father's business was mostly with a lot of Muslim, and he was liked because he was in the spice business, but he also was like consulting to them what to take, like women to get pregnant. They take something, they powder it for them. I remember when I was young, or they impart the cardamom, the different kind of spices. And this area called Shorja was a big marketplace. They start from clothing, and they go to spices, and they go to vegetable and fruit, and they go to doing that, you know, like pots and from copper and from, you know, how do you say, light metal. They design it, and then you go to school. We walk through it to go to school. But I don't think I had major really problem. They shed us well, the family.
Yeah. So why didn't you see your parents for 22 years?
Because they couldn't get out of Iraq.
Can you say, I didn't see my parents for 22 years because?
Okay, I didn't see my parents for 22 years because they couldn't get out of Iraq. They wouldn't let them. The only communication I have with them was my brother studied at university in Baghdad, part of the MIT, Massachusetts, and they have their fathers, Jesuit father. They teach and trying to gain maybe conversion to Christianity. And my brother and Yvette study in the school, engineering, and was a father by the name of Fred. I have to remember his last name. Father Wolfson or something. He would, when he leave Iraq, he called me from Rome, and I fly to Rome from New York at that time I was living. I was working for Fiat in New York. I fly there to meet him. They bring a little watch, a little money, a little paper, some written thing. Father Jellison, very, very nice man. And he loved my parents because he was there and alone, and he goes to eat in our house all the time. And he was the teacher of Joe. And this is the only communication to Israel I had, to Iraq I had. And then they paid, and they got like permit to go for medical visit to Holland. And then after they left, Joe guaranteed their return. So Joe escaped with Yvette. They just got married, and they escaped to Mosul, north of Iraq, and to Iran. And he stayed in Iran. And I tried to get him here. It was very tough. We have no document, no papers. And it was rough. But I went to see my parents when they arrived to Holland. And we decided they should go to Israel because my two sisters there. So they went there. The sister took over, and they bought an apartment in Khob Modi in Ramat Gan, and they lived there. So I was back and forth like 4, 5, 6 times a year from New York. It's easy. And Joe, after that, came in. And it's an interesting, sometimes life is like like you're playing chess, and you put it in the right place. And how I got my brother to the United States is interesting too. I am very known to be, they call me always the king of Mexico because of my tourism to Mexico. I was doing an average like 1,500 passengers per month without computer. And technically, I'm the recipient of the Golden Merit Award for the Republic of Mexico from President Lopez Portillo in 1981. And Miguel Alemán, he is the Secretary of Tourism, but at that time, he is the one who authorized, during the Truman period, when Truman denied the Jews to arrive with the boats. There were 3 ships, people sick, have no food, no bathroom is overflowing, and he kicked them to the ocean. Miguel Alemán allowed them to land in Mexico. This is where the Jewish, Ashkenazi Jewish in Mexico is from those boats. But I want to say that I was taking the American Mexican Bar Association convention in Mexico City. We have huge, like maybe 400 couples, huge. And I was there arranging everything go well. It was headquartered at the Camino Real in Mexico City. And was a gentleman sitting there, and they start talking to me who I am. I'm not Mexican, I don't speak Spanish. And I understood, but I never speak, so I said, dile, dile. And at that time, he asked me, and this man, I discovered later on, he was a congressman of the United States. He was in City of Industry, Ray Bowles. And Ray Bowles asked me, where did you come? And this, I start talking, and he got really involved. And I told him I don't know what to do with my brother having problem getting papers. We have no papers. He pulled up a card and he say, contact my office and come and see me. So I did. He moved the wall and he got my brother. I went to Holland, I gave blood and the same blood, and we got people to testify that he's really the son of Heskel and Naima Daabi, and this is me, Finally, I sent him the ticket for the charter, and he landed at Bangor, Maine, and I was so excited. I dressed up, and I didn't realize that Bangor, Maine is another 5 hours flight, 6-hour flight. So at that time, 7:07, and I dressed up and I went downstairs to wait for him. No. I dressed up to go to the airport and I fall asleep. So Joe called me. I'm in Los Angeles. Where are you? And I said, I fell asleep. Take a taxi. I don't have money. I said, don't worry. Bring a taxi. I'll wait for you downstairs. So I didn't wait to get out from the airport here. I went downstairs and I waited. I fell asleep downstairs. He arrived. I took care of the taxi. And this is when I met my brother. He stayed with me at 8660 Burton Way in Williman. He lives in my apartment with Yvette. So I gave them my bedroom and I slept on the couch for like 6 months or 8 months or 5 months. I don't remember. But it was nice, it was good, and felt good. I didn't speak very well Arabic at that time, Iraqi Jewish, because I didn't have anyone to talk to. There was no Iraqi here. I have to correct, the only Iraqi I met, and he just passed away about 2 years ago, which Tawli, is Maurice Zakaria. I was driving from Palm Spring at Hadley. I see a guy next to the cashier, and I see the ukht in his face. And I went there and I said, are you Iraqi Jewish? Are you Iraqi? And he stunned, and I said in Arabic, Yehudi. I say in Arabic, don't worry, I'm Yehudi. And he started open up. He gave me his business card, which is same color till today, red. And he had Windsor clothing, and they do the backgammon here every year now, twice, second time last week. And the one win, they give the money, and then they donate to the temple. Maurice Zakaria. This is interesting. First Iraqi I met here, and become very good friend with Joe, and totally we become friend also. But really, this is how my brother came in, and I continue. I was transferred by Fiat company from Israel. I was a tourist guide in Israel. Okay, let's go back to Israel for a while. I was, because of my languages, and I understood, and I had a book, but I lost it. I don't know where is it. That my father, and I was young in Basra with him, and he was buying palm dates. He was.
Yeah, it's just warm, but it's the alarm isn't going.
He was buying palm dates, and he shipped it to Israel. And they wrote a nice book about him. I don't know where is it. Small book, very thin, like maybe this. And my father, I came back to Israel here, and I interviewed for the army, and I was selected to go to the intelligence, Haman. And from Haman I was transferred to Katam, Ksinim Litafkidim Yuchadim. Now after 50 years is okay, you can talk. And I was really placed in Lebanon for 2 years with another 3. We were 5. 3 were saved, 2 were gone. They caught them. I landed on November 13, 1953, from a glider into the Sea of Galilee in the cold water. And the Navy was waiting for us. One after the other, they pick us with a cable. And then you fly behind the plane, and when they flush, you release the cable and you dive. You don't want to do it again. But this is how we get back to Israel. And then after that, I was involved. They wanted to send us to Iraq to bring the MiG-17, if you remember the story. And I can't say no in the army, but I really didn't want to go. I swear I'll never go back to Iraq. Just thinking of it, I couldn't sleep at night. I start asking stupid questions after they do briefing, and they start speaking in Yiddish to say this is something wrong with him. So they send me to Nazareth. Next to Nazareth, they have Nazareth Alit. They have a hospital there, like recovery, and tried to observe me what happened. So I would find trees. I would sleep there for 15, 20 minutes. At night, I don't sleep, and they report the guy doesn't sleep. Something wrong. He doesn't sleep. He's something wrong. Hafra'a nafshit. Yeah, problem solved. And then I let go. At that time, my boss was the assistant to Tzariel, head Rosh Mossad. And I knew it much later, not now. But I finished the army, and I was doing, I did everything. I did taxi driver, 1963 Givatayim, from Trumbuldor Street in Ben Yehuda. Then I went to a tourist guide. I worked for Koppel in Chov Chernichovsky Arba. And I have 3 more cars. No, it's interesting. And then from there, I met a very interesting man and his wife. He was the chairman of STUI, Suvilipo Transportación Urbana Interurbana. Change your life. He is the guy who they own Sita, Autostradala, Sadem, Savda, Etna Transporti, travel companies and motor coach companies, bigger than Greyhound, United States. And I was with him as his guide because Koppel tours pulled me, need Italian or French, like Toscani. They speak French from Florence area. And after that, 10 days, he gave me $20. It's a lot of money. I went out of Ulud airport, and automatically I make a U-turn. I went back. I told the police I have to deliver this man there next to Al-Itali counter. He saw him. He forgot something with me. Okay, leave the keys. I went and I bought New Testament in Italian with silver. And I went to him, and I gave it to him. And he gave me a hug, and the wife is big. You gave me a hug, and I didn't have a breathing more. Then 6 months later, I was requested by the Israel Ministry of Tourism to go to Italy. I fought it. If you don't go, we take your license. So I went for 6 months. They gave me nice money, first-class round-trip ticket to promote the Holy Land, to sell Terra Santa. By the way, I do Terra Santa now. I have Israel, Egypt, Jordan, Turkey, and Greece. I am one of the main supplier of tourism in the Western United States, or maybe in the country. There. Today on the website, I just gave him my cards. And I was the first one to bring El Al, Israel Airline 1989, before the war with Lebanon. 747 came here when Governor Brown, now is our governor, he was governor, he got the Lebanon. And my mother, I couldn't leave. My mother went on the flight. She spoke no English. She spoke no Hebrew. She spoke only Arabic. To cut the ribbon, you go in first class. She went to Israel, and she was greeted 747 for the first time flying from Los Angeles to Tel Aviv Lud Airport. And she cut the ribbon. And then was the war, and then they changed it to 707. And then I never done with Israel anything. Then I re-enter because of pressure from the government again. Rami Levy, Israel Minister of Tourism, convinced me I should go back into it because we have the infrastructure, automation, and so on. And so I have been in business since February 7, 1970. And that's Israel. And Israel continued to be my life because if they have a shotgun there, we suffer here in business. If everything peaceful, business climbed up. But this is life in the army. And I didn't go to Iraq. The people went to Iraq. One of them I know personally. 17 years he was in jail, but his wife and children out. But this is again destiny. You see everything together, and we continue. They transferred me to the United States. I fell in love. I got a child, and I stayed here.
What have you done to hold on to your Iraqi heritage?
I still like it. I still speak perfect Arabic. I cook a lot. I compete with Yvette in cooking. Man, I'm kidding you. I just make shalgam, the beet, the white beet, for Joe, and he asked, why can't you do it this way? I just last week, I make him another one. Last Friday, I bought it for him home. I had dinner with them. No, I like it. I speak perfect Arabic. And they have a lot of Iraqis around here, you know, the Caledonian and Asurim, especially San Diego. San Diego is a lot of Caledonian Catholic, Christian, Caledonian Arabi.
In those 22 years that you were separated from your family, did you ever think that maybe you should go back to Iraq, or you just knew it was
no way you can go back to Iraq. No, and first, they kill you if you get there. And two, absolutely not. I mean, you have to go. I believe God's destiny. You have to carry on. I stayed here not because I immigrated here. I didn't. I was on a business visa. Then I got married. And didn't work after 14 years, but still friendly relation, no problem. And the kid is Jewish, bar mitzvah. You come to Joe last Friday, have dinner. And he's doing good, and I'm happy. He just called, I'm on the way. Can we have dinner tonight? I will call you later. But it's rough. But you know what? I grew up alone. And the story is when I went to Israel, I was building that I'm going to my mother's sister. And when I arrived there in Ramat Gan, was Friday evening, after dinner, she told me what I'm doing here. Why? I said, I'm to Israel. And she told me we don't have room in the place here. And you have to get going. Why did you leave Sha'ara Aliyah? She said, because my mother's sister is here. But I said, don't worry, Sunday I leave. And I left Sunday to Yerushalayim, 99 Agrippa Street, to Gurji, which is the sister of Habiba. She married to Bibi family. She was the wife of my half-uncle, the first uncle. She grew up my father and my uncle Kaduri and me. I climbed the steps upstairs and she looked at me, she say, Abdalak, anta Salih ibn Hagla? Are you Salih, son of Hagla? I say, eh. And I stayed with him 2 years. Matter of fact, Herzl Bibi was here this last weekend for a convention, and we went all the way to Anaheim with my wife Teresa to have dinner with them. And it's like I grow with them like a family. He is in the organic food and medication, you know, health pills and so on. Very well, it does. Nice family. And I grow with them. I never saw that aunt again ever.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I never went back. I don't know her family. I don't care. She is muerte in Spanish, Finnish.
Yeah.
But otherwise, really, the family was always nice. See, my two sisters, interesting that they came on the Aliyah changing the name because my mother's sister, Toba, she's also married to Dابي. So they traveled like their daughters. And I was 16 when they arrived to Los Angeles, to Tel Aviv. And my father allowed us send money to buy a house, a condo, apartment, on Jabotinsky, across from Mishteret Ramat Gan, the Dov Gruner area.
Wait,
30 seconds.
Okay, we need to stop for a minute.
I just want to put in the cooler battery. That's all.
Am I doing okay?
Yeah,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
this is a great interview. That story about welcoming your brother in the airport is really emotional.
I love the mom cutting the ribbon. That's such a great image.
Yeah, the mom cutting the ribbon.
She must have been so proud of you too. That's
And
amazing.
also the army stories. It's amazing.
I couldn't talk too much, but I will tell you something. The same guy, Javier Vardi, that I carry his daughter always on my shoulder. I was driving like, when we're going to do it on the machine, I was driving Kaiser Frazer made in Israel, fully bulletproof. You can blow up the car, nothing happened to it, especially the trunk equipment. And I was with them after I came back from Lebanon.
Do you just want to start over?
Yeah, can you see the story from the beginning?
From
From the start, because he's starting to roll the film again.
which one? Where is
The
that?
one you're telling right now. You're talking about, we're just talking how you were in Lebanon, you were carrying someone's daughter on your shoulder.
Oh no! Oh no! Well, it's my boss in the army was Javier Vardi, and I understood later on he is to reconnect with him through the daughter of my sister Tikva, Tali. She was in the army, but I saw her dressing. She was wearing civilian, and I asked her if you know Javier Vardi, and her head came between the two chairs in the car, the bug, the Volkswagen. Dod, meifo ta makir oto? I say, oh, my boss, tell him Charlie is here, and give me his number. No, I can't. I have to ask him. So he called me, and I saw him in Los Angeles. And it's an interesting experience because later on, at that time I was married with the other one. We're living in Westlake Village. And he came here with his wife to visit his daughter. She's still living in Los Angeles. I see them here and there. And then he started talking to Pepper, and he said, I don't understand how we took him to Westlake. They have the golf course. I don't play golf like Joe, but I social member. And he was there with his wife and one guy dark color and one blonde. And my wife, you know, American, they know nothing. Say, it's hot, why don't you take your jacket off? No, we have a problem with our back or something, they say. And he said, she asked him who they are. They are my cousin, my nephews. Yeah, one black Yemeni and one is Ashkenazi. But they were guards. And he told my wife, he said, ask her, how he make really success. He was like a ahbal, the dum-dum. And I say he didn't know what that mean. The brow of the woman, he didn't know what that mean. And then she went to talk. I kicked her under the table to keep quiet. So after that, he came to the house, a visit, and we're on the lake. You have a boat, you have a private island. It's nice. So he left, and I say, I'll tell you a story because they want us to go to Iraq, and I make them mitamtemotam, and I confuse them. They didn't send me, and I'm here. And so always they thought they were good decision. But I'm not going to tell him he was stupid, not me, you see. And this is what story that, you know, she was laughing. And become friendly with become friendly with him. And then he invited Teresa and I to all the head of the department. I want to see my bosses. They're all generals. And they're all from Poland. And they all speak Arabic better than someone born in an Arab country. Palestinian, Arabic, pure. Unbelievable. And we went to Ra'anana to a house of his father. It was like a place for putting the stable. And Teresa was really nervous because everyone come up and Ahlan ya Charlie, and then she say, and they told her, I'm General So, and Aluf. Translation is general, and we love this guy. Charlie is our man. And he explained to her politically the country, and we keep building this. By the time they don't want, one time it's all built already. When they negotiate. It was interesting for her. She said, I couldn't believe it, Charles. You always talk about it, but I didn't believe it, who they are. I mean, they told her, we are the people who created the country. We, those people here. And it's just top of the intelligence of the country. Wow. But its life in Israel is really nice. I didn't have a chance to study. I went to the army. My first job was working for Voice of Israel, Kol Israel, Bakiria, to count the numbers, the point for the music. Then when you play music, they send you payment. You know, like...
Were you working with Salim Fatah?
No, I go to the Voice of Israel, and I do the accounting for the people who play music. Like you put on the air song. He gets some benefit. They pay him point, money. And I was working for ACOM, Agudat Compositorum, Composer Other Publication in Israel. It's my first job. I ride bicycle and I go to job. And the second one was I work for the election censor. This is my second job for a while. And then after that, I went to the army. And then from the army, taxi driver, guide, and then the company hired me to go to Europe, move me from place to place. In 1969, I resigned because I couldn't afford it. Every time they spend money, they translate it to Italian liretos, billions of liretos. But you cannot, as you grow up here in the country, you need to invite people. We sold motor coach, rented motor coaches for tours, like TWA, like Globus, like different.
In Baghdad, were you part of any kind of organization? Like
only the Stern underground. Stern is Menachem Begin. This Stern, they were underground teaching you Hebrew and how to use guns, and then become really tough to teach you how to use guns because the noise of the things, they were afraid, they stopped it, but mostly Hebrew, speaking language, writing it. And it helped me when I get to Israel, it was easier. I never go to school in Israel, neither in the United States. Yeah. And I don't know how the structure of schools here, because my son studied in Thousand Oaks and went to Santa Barbara. He was ready to go to be an attorney. I paid the first fee. He asked for 1 year off, and he never went back. Yes, what can you do with him?